The Enclave are a powerful and militaristic cabal interested in restoring their vision of pre-war America. However, they seem to be missing from, timeline-wise, the latest Fallout game, Fallout 4. And so this begs the question, where exactly is the Enclave? Let's get into it. Following the destruction of their first base, the Enclave oil rig, at the hands of Fallout 2's Chosen One, the Enclave was scattered and at its weakest point. While some members attempted to integrate into the new California Republic, others followed a call to arms eastwards. Led by Enclave officer Autumn Sr., remaining forces of the group found themselves at the Raven Rock bunker in the capital wasteland. It would be there, under the leadership of President John Henry Eden, an AI, and Colonel Augustus Autumn, Autumn Sr.'s son, that the Enclave would aim to restore the United States under their authoritarian rule. To do this, they would attempt to take over Project Purity, a massive water purifier based at the Jefferson Memorial. However, with the combined forces of the Brotherhood of Steel and Lone Wanderer, Autumn's Enclave would be defeated, leaving them reeling and disorganized. It would be in Fallout 3's third DLC, Broken Steel, that the fight against the Enclave would be continued. Again, the Brotherhood of Steel and Lone Wanderer would combine forces to take the offensive against the remnants of the Enclave. These efforts would climax with the destruction of the Enclave mobile base crawler at Adams Air Force Base. And so, by the end of Broken Steel, the Enclave's power and influence are effectively eradicated. 10 years later, by the start of Fallout 4, the Enclave's influence on the East Coast, and notably the Commonwealth, has been relatively non-existent. There are some hidden mentions about the Enclave in some terminals. For example, a pre-war article can be found in the Boston Bugle building that comments on the rumors of a secretive government cabal, the Enclave. And an entry on Proctor Quinlan's personal terminal documents Arthur Maxon's rise to power, noting that despite the defeat of the Enclave in the capital wasteland, the Brotherhood needed a new leader to unite them and the outcasts. Outside of written entries, the sole survivor is able to listen to some tales about the faction. These stories include things like how Dance lost his good friend Paladin Krieg during the assault on the Air Force Base, or how the Brotherhood's flagship, the Pridwin, was built using the scrap metal from the Enclave's former base, or how the Enclave was defeated with the help of a 3-story tall, nuke-tossing, communist-hating robot. Yeah, like that ever happened. But aside from some old war stories, the Enclave's presence in the Commonwealth is zilch. Nothing, nada. Almost as if they were completely and utterly defeated in a brutal offensive. However, just like how some former Enclave soldiers found a new life on the West Coast, some, or at least one, former Enclave officer found a new pious life not too far from the Commonwealth on the East Coast. Brian Richter was once a lieutenant in the Enclave, fighting against the Brotherhood of Steel in the capital wasteland. However, during a long-term scouting mission to recover some fusion cells, an unfortunate situation happened. Brian and his team accidentally locked themselves in a high-security storage center. Trapped with only small rations of water and a bit of radroach, Brian's team succumbed to the elements one by one. Before Brian could finally fall with the others of his team, he came upon a stroke of luck, or some otherworldly blessing. Church of the Children of Adam zealot Tectus came upon him and saved him, and after being saved by the church, Richter would devote the rest of his life to Adam and his power. Richter would rise in ranks among the church, eventually reaching the rank of Grand Zealot. And prior to April 25th, 2024, that was it for the Enclave in Fallout 4. A handful of mentions, and one former Enclave member turned religious zealot. But on the aforementioned date, Fallout 4 received its first update since 2019, and it was in this update, dubbed the Next Gen patch, that Fallout 4 added some brand new Enclave content and also canonized some Creation Club content that included the Enclave and their technology. Of all this stuff added, it is 2 notable quests that reveal what the Enclave has been up to all these years. Speak of the Devil is a quick quest that might show why the Enclave's presence on the East Coast is so diminished. The quest sees the sole survivor go on a bit of a wild goose hunt, tracking down the whereabouts of a wasteland vigilante named the Black Devil. At the end of said goose chase in the Mass Pike Tunnel, we learn that the Black Devil was once a member of the Enclave. A terminal reveals that the Black Devil rose through the ranks of the Enclave, eventually joining an elite force known as the Devil's Hand. Fitted in prototype XO2 power armor suits, the Devil's Hand would roam the entire wasteland, cleansing it of all mutants, ferals, and the impure. Eventually, the Black Devil grew disenfranchised with the cause he once cared for. The Devil's Hand was disrupting, displacing, and disposing of folks that were just trying to get by in the harsh wasteland. This took a toll on the Black Devil, and they would eventually go AWOL, deserting the Enclave. And while at first they were concerned with the Enclave coming after them, the destruction of the Enclave at Raven Rock and Adams Air Force Base bought him some breathing room. The Black Devil would come across a holotape for a cancelled superhero show called The Black Devil. He would take up the alias himself, performing acts for the greater good of the Commonwealth, not allowing his dark past to define him. The former Enclave officer would crusade around the Commonwealth, helping settlers with their many problems. To aid with logistics and monitoring the Commonwealth, the Black Devil would play old Enclave songs on the radio and send out iBots to watch over the wasteland. Eventually, settlers that needed help would play these same songs, beckoning the Black Devil for instant aid. And while this music did help the Black Devil get into the mindset for doing what had to be done, it would bring back some tough memories of their time in the Devil's Hand. Eventually, the days of playing hero would come to an end. Due to some ailing health problems, the Black Devil would hang up the mantle and attempt to blend into the communities that they once helped. However, these old Enclave songs would still play on the radio, and this posed a problem. With the airwaves cluttered with Enclave music, even if they were signals asking for aid, it was unintentionally spreading Enclave presence. And so, as a final request, the Black Devil asks whoever found their XO2 power armor suit to permanently disable the Enclave radio station for good. After disabling or restoring the station, a group of Enclave remnants will gank the sole survivor. After dispatching the foes, we learn that the leader of this small Enclave troop, Sergeant Hodges, was stationed at a hidden base on the East Coast. This group was ordered by some unknown superior to reacquire the set of XO2 power armor that the Black Devil had taken with them. We learn from this quest that even after the defeat of the Enclave in Fallout 3, they still had some wayward and roaming groups. The Devil's Hand and Sergeant Hodges groups seem to have been away during the Enclave and Brotherhood's dire encounter. And even though the majority of the Enclave's power structure was ruined in the Capital Wasteland, there still seems to be someone in command, as Sergeant Hodges was searching for the Black Devil's power armor suit on orders from a higher up. And the next major quest introduced in the Next Gen update was Echoes of the Past. After hearing about a missing caravan and following some clues, the sole survivor will happen upon the caravan's wreckage, the perpetrators of the attack nearby. A team of Enclave troopers ambushed the traitors. After dispatching the foes, the sole survivor will download a homing beacon from a terminal. This beacon will lead our protagonist to the glowing sea, and more specifically, the Atlantic offices. Upon entering, a lockdown is issued, and the player is ambushed by several power armor-clad troopers. To end the lockdown, one must retrieve a key from the Enclave's leader, Colonel Elias. After taking down the leader, the Enclave's motives and mission orders can be found on a terminal. Elias and his group, by some mysterious higher power, were assigned to the Commonwealth. There, they were tasked with recovering equipment and technology. Notably, this includes high-tech gear that, like Echoes of the Past, were also once Creation Club add-ons. The Enclave had to recover a Tesla cannon, a heavy incinerator, Hellfire power armor, and Exo 2 power armor. After, the group was to wait for further orders from Redacted. And that's sort of the end of Echoes of the Past. From this quest, we learn that the Enclave is still quite mysterious, which I suppose is very on brand for the group. They were sent to the Commonwealth, told to collect some high-tech gear that somehow got into the wrong hands, and await further orders. No real info on important leaders, key personnel, or just how big the organization is after they were decimated in the capital wasteland. And so, what we do learn from Fallout 4's next-gen update is that while the Enclave was not outright destroyed at Raven Rock and Adams Air Force Base, it would seem that they have been severely damaged or weakened. Rather than having the manpower and firepower to go on the offensive, the remaining Enclave forces have gone into hiding, binding their wounds and instead refocusing their efforts on recovering technology. So, to go back to the titular question, where are the Enclave? Well, it would seem that they were playing a grand old game of hide and seek. They hide from their enemies and seek their technology. And judging by their absence at the release of Fallout 4, they were pretty damn good at it. But that's all from me today, folks. If you liked the video, be sure to share and subscribe. Join the Discord, give me some of your video ideas. Have a good rest of your day. Cheers.
They called themselves the Enclave. They were a force to be reckoned with in their day, but now, well, it's been a long time since then.